Notre Dame takes down Navy, Joe, and a team that forced 6 turnovers yesterday was the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. I'll kick it over to your squad. Your thoughts on the game.
Now those 6 turnovers, before anyone jumps in the comments, a lot of them were unforced errors that Navy had because they were extremely just dysfunctional. They were having a ton of issues on offense. I need Notre Dame fans, and I'm glad that it sounds like you're going to agree with me with this take that I'm about to have. I need a lot of Notre Dame fans to please be realistic of the outcome of this game. Be prideful of it, but be realistic. That game is not as big of a resume booster as some would think it is, as some Notre Dame fans might want to paint it as one. It is not as good of a win as an in-conference victory for an SEC or a Big Ten team. However, I have echoed and said this a million times on this show since the NIU loss. Notre Dame can't leave doubt against any of their opponents. They need to blow past and dominate on both sides of the football against every single team that they play because there are no more ranked matchups remaining. Leave the committee a situation where at the very least they can pull up the resume and say, you know what, they might not have played anyone tough in the final stretch of the season, but they dominated everybody that they went against. And they have 11 wins, no conference championship, and their one biggest win is against a Texas A&M team that finished 3rd or 4th or even 2nd in the conference. Notre Dame has a pretty good resume, and I think that this win is showing that they are worthy of being in this playoff picture.
I'm going to push back on one thing that you just said. You ready?
Okay.
The A&M win in week 1 is massive right now.
Yeah.
It's a massive chess piece. I get that it's week 1 and A&M is a completely different football team, but you can say that you went down there and won. I get.
See, I thought you were going to flip that on me. I thought you were going to say, Joe, that was in week 1. I'm stunned by that you're agreeing with me on this. I'm like blown away right now.
Well, hold on. Even if so here's would be my opinion. Okay. A&M is far better than what they were in week 1. Okay?
Absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Here's the truth. If both teams lined up today, A&M would not only be favored, but Joe, you would probably think that they might, on a neutral site, that they're going to give you problems.
Yeah, I don't. Well, considering how close it was, and now that they know what they didn't run the ball the same way or even try to in week 1. They changed their approach.
I'm talking about right now in the sense of Ben Morrison's out. You're kind of banged up. Joe, the truth is that they're kind of banged up a little. Their left guard, Chase Basantis, is out, but then they replaced it with a freshman who just went off. Okay. Yeah, I mean, Joe, there just comes a point a little bit here where, I mean, that's such a massive piece, and that's what the committee's going to use. Not me necessarily, because I think me and you could take what our eyeballs see and say, hey, come on, let's be real about something here, and it would be a much tougher game for you going into this one. Yeah. Here's the thing for me for Notre Dame. I'm not going to take the 265 rushing yards, even though I think you need to continue to lean on your running game. Here's the truth, I think a little bit. I think you're trying not to be Brian Kelly Notre Dame, and you're getting away from the principles of what wins football games. I think sometimes you wanted to prove that you've opened some things up and your offense has changed and you're trying to make Riley Leonard something that he's not. Run the football. Your defense is still good. Run the ball. Joe, what is every team that's the most consistent, whether we talk about Oregon, A&M, Georgia, when they kind of got back to it, Joe, teams that are playing really good defense and lining up and popping you in the mouth are winning. They're winning. And so that's the truth of what – screw what perception that you think that people have on you. You can line up and whip that ass up front.
That's the biggest thing for me.
Get back to who you are. Okay. Here's the biggest thing. Throw out everything defensively. Were you fundamentally sound?
Yes.
Check. On defense, did you force turnovers against a very tricky offense?
Some of them were unforced, but yes.
Yes. You get to a situation where, Joe, that's when you play one of these service academies. Are you a disciplined football team? And you were. And that's the thing, Joe. I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say. I mean, people thought I was really buying into the Navy thing that we talked about last. I mean, come on. We talked about this on Wednesday.
No one's able to like read through sarcasm in our.
They can. Did you see our comments on the? Did you see the comments on the channel?
I did. Well, I brought it up. One of them was.
Go ahead.
One of them was really funny, and I think I brought it up last week, which was, how are you going to pick a Christ over America or something like that, which was hilarious.
That was funny. That was really funny. You knew the sarcasm. We talked about it on Wednesday. I mean, come on. I love how physically you dominated and you were at the line of scrimmage, Joe. I think that you took care of business. You're not going to get the praise for it. You don't need the praise. Just keep going to who you are. That's all I can say, man. Really, I mean, as much as I would want to, Joe, I think it's a good win. But here's the thing that I look at too. I thought Denbrock called a great game on third down, regardless of the opponent. Okay, he did some really good things on third down. But you got to go to Riley Leonard and say, "Hey, big dog, we're going to bully. We're going to try to bully some teams. That's the only chance we got. And you could throw the football around a little bit, but Joe, Jeremiah Love, dude."
Well, that's been the biggest thing that I keep coming back to. And they got away from it a little bit against Georgia Tech, but then they realized, okay, if we can't get him going on the ground in between the tackles, we're going to make him a receiver. I said this on the BR stream Bleacher Report stream I did on Wednesday. In the preseason, it was talked about how they were going to use him as a slot receiver and a running back. And they were just going to move him all over the place because he really is one of the most uniquely gifted athletes in the country. There's NFL scouts that really think in a year when he declares that he could be and should be a first-round pick. Like, he is a very gifted athlete, and it feels like Notre Dame's not capitalizing on that. So you're bringing it up here. He had a fantastic game. He had so many big plays. They need to just keep giving this kid the football, get him returning more kicks, put him out wide, put him in the slot, put him in motion. And I think that Denbrock's starting to realize that, and he's starting to be more aggressive about it. But you're 100% right. That is their key to victory. It's not Riley Leonard. Riley Leonard's not the guy who wins and loses you football games. Jeremiah Love can be the guy that wins you games if you use him the correct way. BetOnline remains your top spot for all of your live betting action and contests. NFL, college football, UFC, NHL are all in full swing. BetOnline is your number one source for wagering news, odds, trends, and predictions with both desktop and mobile access at any time. Head to BetOnline today and use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV, for 50% off your first deposit. That is a 50% welcome bonus. BetOnline, where the game starts.
Impressive win.
Yeah.
I don't care because you're fundamentally sound.
That was a big thing we talked about in the preview, man.
Here's what's good. Here, I want to tell you this. As much shit as you gave Marcus Freeman, okay, about NIU, in fairness, that hasn't really happened against Purdue and Navy. They have written that ship. So there are two games out there where you were like, he doesn't get them up for the big ones, Joe. He doesn't get up for the big ones.
No. But that wasn't what my whole argument was. My whole argument, Blake, was he doesn't get them up for the worst opponents on their schedule, and then they lose those games. That's what's the absurd nature of it. And I will give, and I will walk back slightly, that Marcus Freeman has proven me wrong with some of these matchups and kicking the crap out of everybody. That's what they need to keep doing. But at the same time, I'm not saying he's getting fired, but they got to accomplish something here. They got to win a playoff game. They can't just go out there and get their ass kicked.
I'm going to throw this at you.
Yeah.
Let's just say hypothetically, of the 8 teams that will get top 8 seeds, outside of you getting matched up against the Big 12 somehow, some way, whatever, I'm going to give you a little bit of a truth. You worry me more than Notre Dame would worry me against any of those top 8, Joe, even 12 opponents. I'm just being real. I'm being 1,000% real. I do still think.
Let's pitch a couple of these teams: Indiana, Penn State.
The problem is with Indiana,
Texas.
Okay, in this kind of scenario, okay, they are blowing out conference opponents big time. Conference opponents. When you're playing Navy in week 9, it's a massive. You get what I'm saying here? You understand what I'm saying?
I do, and that was why I prefaced my lead in as there is a difference in resumes between what a team like Indiana and a team like Penn State and a team like Texas, that when they get an in-conference non-ranked win, that means more than the Navy win. But I do think that this Notre Dame team is better than they're going to appear because they're not playing anyone. They can't.
Now, I'm not saying that you won't get in, because here's the truth too. Notre Dame is a media darling, and everybody knows this. Don't play around with me on this. Okay, they're probably going to get in if they win out. However, if it's me and you talking, the truth's got to start coming out. Like, for example, Joe, in Tennessee. Like, let's just say Tennessee loses to Georgia, and it's the only loss that they have down the stretch. And we got to be in a situation where, because you have the team at number 12 has got to be a G5 opponent, which Boise State, congratulations, you won. And Notre Dame, like, how are those weighed? And so that's the thing that I look, anybody that's realistic as a Notre Dame fan knows I'm not trolling. You know what I'm telling you is 1,000% truth.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not cracked out enough to sit here and say that I think that Notre Dame would kick the crap out of Tennessee. Look at the way that they played this weekend. I'm not one of those Notre Dame fans that doesn't have realistic expectations, again, especially after the dud that they showed us in week 2. They have those types of games in them.
And Joe,
but I don't.
And now you're hurt. Like, as an example, if what we saw in the second half from Nico is real, okay, like, this is how my mind works.
But the problem is with like a team. Okay,
hold on. If it is real, as an example, okay, and they're able to throw the football on you and get up on you, and we see that they can run the football with Dylan Sampson, Joe, that's how my mind works. I'm like, yeah, man, I take Tennessee because, look, I have seen this occur. And if you got in a situation where you're having to go blow for blow, score for score on them, Joe, who are you going to trust? Do you trust Nico, or do you trust Riley Leonard to throw you into that one?
Well, but I don't know if I can. That's the problem, is that a lot of these teams that are in this outer bubble that are in the playoff conversation, they all have issues. They all have like major inconsistencies. Tennessee is Exhibit A.
Fair.
Where they, like, I can't answer that question. I got to be honest with you. I don't know which version.